My cousin said I was stupid for turning down the family business until I showed him the audit. My grandfather built Kowalski Auto Parts from nothing. Started with a single store in 1968, grew it into 14 locations across 3 states. When he died last spring, the whole family assumed I'd take over as CEO. I was the only grandchild who'd worked there since age 15, the only one who knew every supplier's name, every employee's birthday, every store's quirks. But when Uncle Richard read the succession plan at the attorney's office, I said no. The room went silent. My cousin Derek, who'd spent the last decade in finance and hadn't stepped foot in a store since high school, looked at me like I'd announced I was joining a cult. "You're turning down a $12 million company?" he said. "You're either stupid or insane. Maybe both." I didn't answer. I just stood up and walked out, leaving 35 family members staring at my back. The truth started revealing itself 8 months before Grandpa died. I'd been promoted to operations manager, finally getting access to the financial systems I'd been locked out of for years. Uncle Richard had been running the books since 2015, and Grandpa trusted him completely. But something felt wrong. Inventory numbers that didn't match physical counts, vendor payments to companies I'd never heard of, cash deposits that appeared and disappeared like magic tricks. I started staying late, cross-referencing everything. What I found made my stomach turn. Uncle Richard had been siphoning money for years. Shell companies, fake invoices, phantom employees. By my calculations, he'd stolen over $2.3 million. But here's what broke my heart. Grandpa knew. I found a folder in his desk drawer, hidden under old photographs. He'd been tracking it himself for the last year of his life. Too sick to confront his own son, too ashamed to tell anyone else. Grandpa left me something nobody else knew about. A sealed envelope with my name on it, separate from the will. Inside was a handwritten letter and a flash drive. "Dominic, if you're reading this, I'm gone, and you've probably figured out what Richard did. I couldn't destroy my own son, even when he was destroying everything I built. But I couldn't let it continue either. The flash drive has everything. Bank records, wire transfers, the fake vendor contracts. I'm leaving you a choice. Take over the company and expose Richard, or walk away and let the evidence speak for itself. Either way, the truth comes out. I just couldn't be the one to pull the trigger. I'm sorry I'm putting this weight on you, but you're the only one strong enough to carry it. Love, Grandpa." I read that letter 40 times, cried through most of them. I turned down the company because I knew what was coming. The flash drive went to a forensic accountant, then to the state attorney general's office. I couldn't run a business while simultaneously testifying against my own uncle. The investigation took 5 months. During that time, Derek called me constantly, demanding to know why I'd abandoned the family legacy. He accused me of being jealous, lazy, ungrateful. At Thanksgiving, he cornered me in my parents' kitchen. "You know what your problem is?" he said, jabbing his finger at my chest. "You never had the guts to step up. Grandpa would be ashamed of you." I almost told him right there, but the prosecutors had asked me to stay quiet until the indictment was ready. So I just nodded and walked away, letting my cousin think I was a coward. The indictment came down 3 weeks before Christmas. Richard was arrested at his office. Cameras everywhere. Fraud, embezzlement, tax evasion. The news spread through the family like wildfire. Derek showed up at my apartment that night, pale and shaking. He'd heard rumors that evidence came from inside the company, that someone had compiled years of documentation. I handed him the audit, not a quick summary. The full 200-page forensic report with highlighted sections showing exactly how his father had been stealing from his own family for nearly a decade. Derek read for an hour without speaking. When he finally looked up, his eyes were wet. "You knew this whole time," he whispered. "That's why you walked away." I nodded. I couldn't run the company while I was helping destroy his father. I thought he'd hate me. Instead, he put the report down and said something I'll never forget. "Grandpa picked the right person. I just wish I'd seen it sooner." Richard pleaded guilty and got 6 years. The company survived, barely. Derek stepped up in ways nobody expected, working 80-hour weeks to rebuild supplier relationships and restore employee trust. I went back to operations. No title change, no CEO ambitions. We rebuilt Kowalski Auto Parts together, cousins who'd barely spoken for a decade now calling each other every morning.